stage.
So I got some fancy headlight assemblies from Oracle Lighting, and these are just basically the case is what I guess you'd call them. I'm going to use a couple different kinds of paint. First of all, I'm going to sandblast these and get them so they have a nice little texture to them for the paint to stick to. And then I'm going to start with a bonding primer and go with my patina process and use a Pour 15 top coat gloss clear as the final finish. So I got the rear end from Wild-Torquey out here, and I had to redo the pinion preload, and at the same time I also added this badass B&M cover. That's a cast aluminum cover with the black anodized finish. It has a fill hole here, plug here, and then what it also has is these cool carrier bearing supports, which actually thread through the case of this and then hold down your carrier bearing or top cap bearings, whatever the hell you want to call them, hold it down. So what I'm doing right now is I just have some black RTV. It's a little dirty, a little messy. Black RTV on the underside of this nut, and what I'm going to do is this threads down until it hits the cap, and then you torque it to like 15 foot-pounds. Or whatever it says in the instructions. I'll have to look quick. You torque that down and then you set this jam nut against the case. So that's that. It's a pretty cool cover. Also adds probably about a quarter capacity so it doesn't get as cold or doesn't get as hot. Came with all the stainless fasteners and whatnot. So yeah, that's what I'm doing here. Everything looked good. I rechecked the backlash using this dial indicator that I found in our drawer. Woohoo. And then I lead painted it, obviously, and here are some pictures of what that came out as. So now, once these are all torqued, this is ready to go back in the car. Got my transmission back from Black Sky Racing. I had to go through it again because there's some small difficulties with the second gear band. I actually lost apply pressure. So there that is. Here's the car all jacked up. Got to get that back in there. So right now I'm just cleaning up some fittings, and you can see I have the whole mess of stuff going on inside here. I got the turbos back. I had him go through and make an HX40 hybrid and then rebuild this HX52 just so it's good to go. I added an intercooler setup, or an exchange setup for my intercooler setup, using two Kawasaki 250 motorbike radiators. This here is the transmission speed adapter. Now it hooks up a cable usually to the outside of this, and it's run by this plastic gear. Sometimes you can break off this plastic gear, sometimes you have problems with the cable. I had problems with the cable. This is my second cable, and because of the weird angle of my transmission and how close it is to everything, when I hit the throttle, this torqued, and the line had too much pressure on it, so it just snapped. So instead of using this setup, or instead of redoing my floor in there, which would have been a real pain in the ass, I just upgraded to a GPS Speedo. Now these are pretty reliable from Autometer, part number 4480, just to get rid of this whole cable design. Gets rid of a cable, less issues. So now all I have to do is take this part out, this gear part out, and here is the fitting itself, which has an O-ring and it just goes into the side of the transmission. I'll show you. It pops into the side of the transmission, is held in by a clip. So what I'm going to do, because this is a reservoir for fluid, I'm going to have to make a cap so that this can't leak, because you can see it's through, obviously, and don't want it to leak. But the thing is with this, it's not steel. I'm not sure exactly what this is made of. It's too heavy to be aluminum, and it's not steel. I love boobs. It's not steel, it's not hooking to any of the magnets, so I wanted to make a cap for that, but the threads are messed up. Autofocus, you bitch. Threads are all sorts of messed up, so yeah. So it's the off season here and I'm working on Wild-Torquey. You can see I got the gauges all ripped out. Well, not all of them, but some of the gauges, and I got my new odometer gauges that I'm gonna put in. But right now I'm working on the diesel tach interface unit, which is a new odometer product. There's the part number. It's universal for any diesel. Comes with the pickup unit here, which goes on the alternator. A hose clamp provided, the actual interface itself, which you use the center button to tune or set, and then the wiring and some wire connectors and whatever. It's pretty simple. Strap this magnet type pickup to the alternator on the ribbed part here. You can see the rib part. So all I gotta do is strap that and then run the wire up through the firewall and hook up the rest of the wiring and mount this. Pretty easy, about as easy as it gets. So I'm excited to get this unit on there because I had a Dakota Digital unit on here, but I never got to work properly. So I don't know what the deal was with that one. So I have 100% odometer instrumentation. Every single thing on this is odometer. And you can see I put a new GPS speedo and a new 6K RPM tach. I had a 10K in there, but this new 6K was a better fit because it's a little bit easier to read. So I upgraded to those, and then for the GPS speedo, I got rid of the original cable style drive, and I got this GPS sensor. So all this is just an antenna, just plugs right in. It's just like a it's a coax cable, like a TV cable that plugs into the back of here. And then you can mount this wherever you want. I'm gonna probably mount it underneath the dash somewhere, and hopefully it gets good enough signal. If not, I'll have to mount it somewhere where it gets better signal. And basically everything's the same here, except this one actually has the lights built in versus the mechanical speedo has 2 light bulbs. So I had to cut out those light bulbs and just use the wires off those to run this. And then the 6K tach is now going to be hooked up to my odometer tachometer adapter. So this goes off the alternator and sends the correct signal to this. It worked out pretty good. I'm excited to get some new gauges in here and get everything working. One thing that's cool about this is it's magnetic. I thought it was going to be just a 3M double adhesive, but I stuck it to something on accident. Magnetic. So that's nice. I can just magnet it inside my car and move it around if I need to. Cool. Good choice, odometer. See that fluid dripping? Little word of advice: don't weld on a on the body of a shock. That scared the shit out of me. I literally fucking had a flamethrower going. I didn't think there was any liquid left and any fluid left in these things. Anyways, what I'm doing here is I'm mounting these little heat exchangers. They're actually radiators off of a motorcycle. Now what I did was I just made a bracket that went across, mounting both of these, and then these are actually mounted together. Right now you can see that I have these little brackets clamped up and I'm welding them on. Well, I was welding them on, but now I think I'm gonna have to either figure out how to empty them or I don't know. So we'll see. Hopefully I don't light myself on fire or something. Oopsie. So my lower radiator hose. Now where it attached the radiator, this was actually slipping out because of motor movement and everything else. It was kind of slipping out because there's no ridge on there for the hose to grab onto. So what I'm doing is I have some 1/8 inch stainless little tube stuff that I just found in our scrap bin. I'm gonna take it and I'm gonna weld it around kind of like a flange. You could also bead roll this, but I don't have a die for the bead roller small enough. So I'm just gonna tack this around there and that'll keep in place. The top one has seemed to be pretty good, so I don't think I'll have to worry about that. And now I can take out this flushing tee. I've been flushing this radiator and complete system out for a couple weeks now. There was a bunch of rust and crud inside the original passages on this engine because they only ran water. They didn't run antifreeze, so led to some rust and corrosion inside. So I've been cleaning that out. Should be good to go now. Now I can get rid of this ugly T thing and finally put in my actual coolant. So the other day I was out driving this and there's my boost gauge down there on the top left corner of that bottom right there. Now you can imagine that would be hard to watch while you're driving. So got this little blower memory kit that goes in the line. Basically it's got like some kind of a check valve in it so that it remembers the highest point and holds that PSI until you hit this button to clean it back up, clear it back up. This is 3230. I didn't really know about this part. Looked all through Automirror's website and thought it was pretty cool. I'm gonna put that in so I can see what the max boost is. And then also I got this digital Pro Shift light controller. Basically go through, change your shift points for your light. So a lot of people don't realize you have to have a control box and a shift light. So there's my shift light there. You can see it's wired in. And then I have the D-pick gauge behind it there. You can kind of see in a pillar pod. And that's that. So I'm gonna work on that tonight, wiring that up and get my gauge setup all done and my shift light. So right now I'm working on wiring up one of these cruise control switches. Now my cruise control switch has the So right now I'm down here and I am actually shooting with my Nikon here. I'm getting some shots like this so that I can actually design and Photoshop my own back windows, side windows. I'll just take a picture. So now I can take that picture and I'll put it on my Photoshop program, and I can kind of imagine based on this profile how the window is gonna look. And then even go back a little bit here. No backlight, backlight. So you can see the color differences. Here's some more shots. You can see that those are not gonna cut it. That's a pretty good shot there. That's a pretty cool shot. Lots of some rust, more rust, more rust. More rust, more rust. Yuck.